Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Salad Bowl Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Thompson. And today I get to jump into a conversation where I talk about sales, marketing, life, transition, and fatherhood with a good friend of mine and big brother. Before we hop in, I want to ask you to do a couple of different things for me. One, I want you to go ahead and follow us on any Apple Podcast, Spotify, or YouTube page that you can. Go ahead and subscribe. Next, I want you to go ahead and follow us on social media as well, whether it be Instagram or TikTok, so the good word can get out there. And then last but not least, I want you to go ahead and normalize authenticity. And if you don't know anything about that, just watch this episode. Let's dive right in.
Now, give me my theme music.
You are now tuned in to the Salad Bowl. You are now tuned into the... Listen up, don't care if you about to pass out or you just getting up. You really did your thing with this one, Kevin, gotta give it up. Messages you bring and be motivation to live it up. We out here really normalizing authenticity. Can't be talking all the time cause that mean you ain't listening. I think you look better when you smile, I see you glistening. Communication helping me to see what you envisioning. Yeah, back to the mission then. Whether you black, white, brown, yellow, or green, more can be accomplished as a team. Together the problem is never as hard as it may seem. Lot of captivating convos like Martin telling his dream. We choosing curiosity over certainty. You should certainly subscribe to this one here with some urgency. This a win. Even Callie know you are now tuned in to the Salad Bowl. The Salad Bowl Podcast.
It's the Salad Bowl Podcast.
You are now tuned in to the Salad Bowl.
It's the Salad Bowl Podcast.
Yeah, you are now tuned in to the...
It's the Salad Bowl Podcast.
You are now tuned in to the Salad Bowl.
You are now tuned into the Salad Bowl Podcast with Kevin Thompson.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Salad Bowl Podcast. I've been waiting to drop this episode and ultimately share this person with y'all. I want to hop right in, but first I have to formally introduce the man, the myth, the legend, Darius Griffin. Thank you for being here today with me, brother.
Thank you, man. You're too kind. And Kev, thank you for the introduction. But before you introduce me, man, I got to say to you, this is super exciting for me. I've watched you grow this thing. I'm so proud. I'm so inspired. You inspire me, right? From someone someone that's in podcasting. I know what it takes to deliver an episode, right? I know the energy, the thought, and to see you do it and grow and push and keep having these authentic conversations. I want to tell you, man, I'm super proud of you. I love what you're doing. Any way that I can support you, I will make sure I do that, man. So keep pushing. Even on those long days, don't stop.
Yes.
When you're getting one click or one like, or you think it's not resonating with the people, keep pushing the message, bro. So I'm proud of you, man. Happy to be here.
Man, I truly appreciate that. And any compliment coming from you, I'm willingly taking it. Because the thing that the viewers don't know that I want to really explain is like who this man is sitting next to me. You know, I would like to say that I like to keep my circle small. And I actually encourage people all around, though it is about authenticity, but like that good circle around you of people who are going to push you to do the right things and push you to go further than what you thought was actually possible. I think you're one of those people, and you're cut from a different cloth. Because I know you're a humble guy and you're not going to talk about yourself, I'm going to quickly talk about you, right? So I ran into Darius. Actually, I think we've kind of crossed paths a couple of times during my Marine Corps career. The first time I was a civilian and I actually was getting recruited out of Atlanta to join the Marine Corps. You were one of the prominent recruiters in Atlanta at the time, one of those Marine Corps recruiters. And we didn't spend much time together or anything like that, but that was our first exposure. And then fast forward maybe, 10 to 13 years later, when I showed up to be a Marine recruiter in Atlanta, you were there, and you in my mind are like the master salesman. And not even just the master salesman, because I don't even want to just limit it down to sales, but like you're one of those people. Like, you know how people work, you know the right things to say, you know the wrong things to say, but you know how to get the efforts out of certain people. I don't want to spoil it for the viewers because you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. But this guy has held every billet that I've known because you were a career recruiter in the United States Marine Corps. You've held every billet from operations chief to a recruiter instructor, which is the person who knows sales like the back of their hands, even going to probably the most illustrious job that the Marine Corps recruiter area has by being an instructor or actually a lead instructor in San Diego to teach every Marine Corps recruiter how to recruit our world's best and our brightest. So this is a very well accomplished person that sits next to me. It's not just a homeboy that I met playing basketball. This guy is the real deal. Yeah, we definitely have played some basketball as well. But this is somebody who I guarantee you by the end of this episode, if you watch it all the way through, or I should say when you watch it all the way through,
Yes.
that you'll learn a lot from. Even if you're not in sales or marketing or anything like that, you'll be able to pull a lot from him. So I'm very interested in jumping right in because I'm always about talking about the formula of who sits in front of us. And that means that we have to discuss perspectives and opinions and things that make up what people just see. I know that you didn't start off in the Marine Corps or as a Marine Corps recruiter, how I met you.
Yep.
There was a person behind that person that I actually showed up and got introduced to. Can you tell me about who Darius Griffin is, where he comes from, what the world looks like from your eyes?
Yeah, Kev, first of all, thank you for the great introduction. Darius Griffin, I'm a Louisiana-born kid. 45 minutes south of here, a little small town called Raceland, Louisiana, on the bayou. So when people hear the bayou, I literally grew up on the bayou. I came from very humble beginnings. You know, we often hear people speak of food stamps and government assistance, and those were the things my family was exposed to. I'm a single mom. My mom raised me and my brother, very close to my grandmother. So my mom and my grandmother were always together. My uncles are actually like my brother. So I have an old soul. I had to grow up a lot faster. My mom went through some struggles early in my life and stuff like that. So I lived a lot of time with my grandmother. But who I am is where I come from. A hardworking family, Christian-based values, going to church Baptist Sunday, every Sunday. So seeing that early in my early days, and by the way, Kevin, let me make sure I say this. One of my uncles was a Marine.
Oh, no kidding.
So that's how I'll bring that forward how I became a Marine. So one of my uncles was a Marine, and so he was off when I was younger, living with my grandmother. So we would always go to visit him in Marietta, Dobbins. I've been to Dobbins as a young kid. For those of you that know about Camp Lejeune, I had been to Onslow Beach as like a 10-year-old.
Wow.
10-year-old. We got pictures of me in camis and with my face painted. So I guess the seeds were planted early for a Marine, but I had no clue at the time. And then as I grew up, Kev, through the years, I was a jock, right? We played football every day. We played basketball every day around the clock. I came up in an era where you had to be home for the street lights come on, right?
Yes, I remember that.
Right. So we were outside kids, and nothing wrong to this generation now that, you know, like my kids or your kids are inside on the phone, but I honed my skills of sports and my love for sports playing outside with my friends every day. I was you asked who I am. I was a jock. I was the kid that sat in front of the TV and watched ESPN, Stuart Scott, Linda Cohn, Scott Van Pelt reruns from 6 o'clock till it was time to go get on the bus. And so I grew up playing football and sports, and you couldn't have not told me I would have been a United States Marine because I was a high school All-American football player down in the Bayou at Central Lafourche High School. Thought I would attend Nicholls State University on a scholarship and didn't take my education seriously, chasing girls and having fun, being an average 17-year-old. And when things didn't work out, Kev, I had a decision to make. My mom, I truly knew, couldn't pay for college. And then that seed that was planted so early with my uncle being a Marine and visiting, I'm like, if I don't go to college, why don't I go into the Marine Corps? Because if I'm going to do one, I'm going to do the toughest one. And so hence, my uncle happened to be stationed at the time when I was graduating high school. He was stationed here at New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
At the reserve base, I think, where you're at.
Yes.
And so he did all my stuff, and he was basically my recruiter. So early upbringings, man, that's it. I come from a very hardworking family, honest family, man. We similar like me, you talk pre-show. My family is very tight-knit, very close. And so that was me, man. So when things didn't work out, I ended up joining the Marine Corps and had an illustrious time. And I often tell people before we get too far into the Marine Corps stuff is my biggest benefit from the Marine Corps was the people. You know, like yourself, there are financial gains. I got 3 degrees in the Marine Corps dime, but the biggest gift to me were the people that I met, like yourselves, and the people that poured into me. And so now you get me here today. So that's the
Yeah,
opening
man.
kind of monologue to who I am.
No, I think there's so much value in that, and I mean where I'm stuck at that I kind of want to rewind to. You say you kind of had some like humble upbringings.
Yes.
Do you feel like those humble upbringings, as far as like having to live off the government, things like that, better prepared you for an experience in the Marine Corps?
Oh, Kev, absolutely, man. I mean, you know, when you talk about the Marine Corps, you talk about being disciplined and having to follow orders and stuff like that. Those humble beginnings, you know, my mom made food off of, I know what a block of cheese looked like from the government, you know. I knew how to spin a book of food stamps. Like my grandmother would send me to the store to spin the paper food stamps, right? Those going out of my neighborhood and having to fight, having to be joned on, having to, you know, my neighborhood was drug infested, right? There was nothing for me to walk out my house and go through the alley and see, you know, drug fiends. I actually ran a crew, Kev. When I was 15, my uncle had a cement business, and he still does to this day. When I was 15, we drove early down in the bayou. I had my driver's license already. I was driving in the summers. I was working his cement crew. I was driving the van because I was the only trustworthy. I wasn't the only, but the rest of them were, you know, excuse me, and anybody, they struggled with drugs.
Yes.
And so in the summers, I would drive the van and lead the crew to job sites. My uncle would lead me to it. And where I'm going with this is I had the, I don't want to say opportunity, but to watch a drug addict, you know, at 15 years old, I'm sitting on my lunch break, sitting in the, you know, this is back in the day, we don't have phones, so there's no phone. We're just sitting there playing around, watching the drug addict smoke the crack pipe on the other side of the van. And they all admire, I won't say admire me, but they thought enough of me to tell me, hey, Bo, used to call me Bo, whatever you do, don't get on this stuff. And I'm sitting there watching them smoke the crack pipe.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So all that to say, Kev, all those things, when I got into the Marine Corps, taking orders and stuff being tough, I had already been through some of the toughest moments, right?
Yes.
I had already seen things that most kids probably wouldn't have saw. So the Marine Corps it was a breeze for me.
Exactly.
In that aspect, you know?
That's one thing that I've noticed, especially, you know, now that I'm getting closer to retirement. And I feel like I'm more of in a reflective phase.
Yes.
I think back
As
over
you
the
should.
times, right? And then I have the luxury to look at it and say like, dang, you know, now I'm one of the dinosaurs in the room. But like I've seen a lot of different phases of our Marines, right? You know, and I think we romanticize a lot of the times our generation, but like I have the luxury to look back and say like, oh, Marines are different nowadays based off of the social norms, technology, things like that. We're looking at different types of Marines, but I do think that the brand of what we were bringing in back in the day, we'll call it back in the day, was different based off of the social norms, right? We were bringing what they call us Uncle Sam's misguided children, right? And it was very much that. We're usually running away from a certain particular situation in our lives where we wanted something better. And we were accustomed to hard work. Yes. We were accustomed to, sometimes, you know what, if it mean we had to fight through it, fighting is just another, fighting is a Wednesday for us, you know? So I really appreciate that perspective, because I think that being built that way does prepare you to fight the good fight, especially once you put on that uniform as a United States Marine.
And Kev, I'll say to your point, there was so much that, you know, we had some rough times in recruiting. Just even the time you were there, right?
Yeah.
I think those times prepared me. I was so level-headed, and I was so, you know, I was kind of unshakable because I had seen so much.
Yes.
You know, seeing Hal's guns fights. Like me and my grandmother, we lived right next to a club. We call them bar rooms.
Yes.
You know, and down on the bayou, and it was my best friend who I'm here to. I'll talk to him in a little bit. His dad owned the club, but it was literally two doors down from my grandmother's trailer. Dang. So as I said, my mom had some struggles early, and I lived with my grandmother, and we would sleep in her bedroom, but it was close to the club. There was 2 doors down.
Wow.
So every Sunday, everybody knew there was going to be some fighting and shooting going on. Like every Sunday, me and my grandmother are literally under the bed, you know, hearing from the gunshots in my neighborhood and stuff like that. And so those things, man, you talk about reflection, it prepared me for so much that I was able to look things in the mirror. And I don't know if that's healthy or, you know, trauma. My kids will never have to.
Of course. Right? Of course. Just because, I mean, we made it through, I don't think it's necessarily one of those things where we want to pass it to our children. But I do think that especially nowadays, I feel like when we talk about value, people feel like just because somebody didn't go through the same thing they went through, that they lack value.
Right.
They just bring a different value to
Yes,
the table.
different perspective.
And I think that your upbringing definitely has a lot of value, but I wouldn't say that it takes away from the value of what other
Yes.
people go through as well, if that makes
Absolutely.
any sense. So how does that play into, I mean, of course, you and I ran into each other when you were a recruiter.
Yep.
You can't be recruited in the Marine Corps to be a recruiter. What did your early days look like after, your family helped you get in the Marine Corps, you go off to boot camp, and we don't have to necessarily go down the pipeline of those 13 weeks or anything like that. But like, how did you get to being a recruiter? Because you were damn good at it.
Yeah, it's funny, Kev. I knew early on in my career I wasn't a yeller. I knew, that's just not who I am. Similar to you, I knew early on. Coming from the bayou, I had style. Like, we wore Soldier Reeboks and Jabot jeans and white T-shirts, and I used to have gold teeth too, Kev. First in Claiborne, so right around the corner here. I used to have 2 gold teeth.
Nice.
I got them taken out when I went to boot camp. So how did I become a recruiter? I knew early on that once I figured out SDA was coming up, drill instructor, recruiter, MSG were the things during my time. I knew I wasn't a drill instructor. It was something, even though I respect the heck out of them and what they do, but that just wasn't me. Recruiter just seemed like something that would be cool and fun to do. I wanted MSG at first off. When I filled my package, I was MSG, but I got recruiting.
Okay.
And so I was an 01 admin guy, so I was always talking to people anyway. I was kind of natural. I was dealing with Marines and leave and pay issues as an admin clerk. And then when I went to Japan, right before I went on recruiting, 3 of my staff NCOs in the company were recruiters. And so I was a senior sergeant, and I always, like I said, I had an old soul, Kev, so I always hung out with the older staff. I was that Marine that the gunnies and the staff sergeants let hang out with them as a sergeant. And then I was always taking care of people. So I was an admin, assistant admin chief as a sergeant. So I took care of all the company first sergeants and stuff like that. So it was naturally, they all knew who I was. So long story short, those guys started talking to me about recruiting dude even more. 3 of them were recruiters, and 3 of them happened to come from Atlanta.
Wow.
Like, man, you need to go to Atlanta. Tell me all the stories about, back in the day, recruiters and some of the things. I don't want to incriminate anybody, but some of the things and the fun they had on recruiting. And so I get recruiting and I get Atlanta. I knew I wanted to go there. But let me back a little bit. I got my re-enlistment bonus was to be an ops clerk. I was still an admin guy. So it was to go to be an admin ops clerk in Atlanta. And so I went to Atlanta in 04 as the ops clerk.
Wow.
So I was working in ops, like Browning, like some of the ops clerks that anybody watching this know about RS. I was the ops clerk. But back in those days, things were still pretty, I don't want to say wild, but they were different. It was right before the plus up.
Yes.
Recruiting was just different. The doors were wide open. You can accept, we were recruiting America's Misguided, as you said.
Yes.
My ops chief at the time, who I thought was a jerk because he would make me do all the work, was actually training me. Like, it got to the point I was so good at recruiting operations, putting waivers together, doing the PPC program, knowing the numbers. I was literally almost the ops chief. Like, the district, when they would call to speak to Griff.
Wow.
Like, they wanted that's how much the mass sergeant and everybody had, because they knew how much I had learned. And the SEAL, when he would come in, obviously he would talk to the ops and ops chief. He would come to my desk. Griff, what we got today? How many we got on deck? And I just became very good, Kev, at it. I became fascinated with recruiting. So it was a natural state for me to go on recruiting duty in Atlanta. I had I knew all the staff and SYCs from processing their waivers faster. I was Browning. You know what I'm saying? For your version of Browning. If anybody
shout out Nathan Browning.
Yeah, Nathan Browning.
Yeah, shout out Nathan Browning.
And anybody that you know Nathan, but Nathan was a phenomenal Marine, always forward thinking.
Yes.
I had those similar traits like him. So I had the doors wide open to pick what station I wanted. I knew recruiting operation like the back of my hand. Now I just had to go experience and do it.
Yes.
And so fast forward, I go to recruiter school. I knock it out the park. I come here. I go to RSS. I go to Atlanta. I go to RSS Duluth, and I just do very well, Kev. And I did what we did. I was still in good shape. 22 at the time. I could still hit a ball at the park. I can go hoop with the kids, play football, and so that's how I recruited. I lived in high school, and I was just doing very well. Got meritorious promoted to staff sergeant on recruiting.
Wow.
By me knowing everybody and doing a good job, they gave me a station quickly. Knocked it out the park. Got meritorious promoted to gunny on recruiting duty. And then that's almost 2 years of being on the duty. I've been promoted twice. And that's when the 8412 conversations started to come along, and it was a no-brainer for me.
Man, that is some feat, because to be able to, for those who aren't familiar with the Marine Corps, to be meritoriously promoted means that you are operating at a very high level. And we say, hey, and you know what? Instead of waiting your time to get promoted, we need to put you on this fast track because you're outperforming everyone. It's kind of like what we talk about when we talk about like talent management.
Yeah.
We recognize your talent and we want to make sure we put you ahead of the group so you can operate in an area. And for that to happen one time in somebody's career is hard. For it to happen on what I think is the hardest duty that the Marine Corps can. I will say that to have that happen twice is a miracle, and I'm glad that it happened with you. We're going to get into the recruiting talk a little bit later, but one thing I don't want to overlook is that somewhere along the way you started your own immediate family, right?
Absolutely.
And of course, I'm one of those quiet fans, and of course we're friends on social media and Facebook and all this kind of stuff, but I see how you love on your family. Can you kind of talk to me about who your immediate family is and what they mean to you?
Man, and excuse that Kev, when you talk about family, I mean, my family, man, is everything to me, right? From my immediate family is my mom and my grandmother, but my immediate family is my wife and two beautiful kids. I met my wife on recruiting duty. I won't tell you how I met her, but funny story, I'm recruiting and she's sitting there and we get to talking, and long story short, I met my wife of 17 years.
Wow.
My wife is a trooper, right? Any military spouse, and shout out to all the military spouses out there that have to move, that have to transition, that have to put up with the tours and snares of a military spouse. Recruiting is a tough ask because you're doing 14 to 16 hour days. My wife was with me doing my grind stage, right? We were single, no kids. So I would leave in dark and I would come back at dark. Like it was times in my marriage where we didn't see each other much, maybe on Sundays because she was working too. My wife is amazing, super smart, speaks 2 languages, 3 degrees. She's a criminal justice major. And my wife, I can't tell you, I'm not, or my career is not who I am without my wife. My wife has given me 2 of the greatest things that have ever happened to me. My 16-year-old son, DJ, I have my daughter, Kyla, and you asked, family. It's one of the most unique opportunities to, I always tell people, being called dad. You know, I've done some cool things, Kev, not in the military, outside the military, but being called dad is the greatest title one could ever give me. If you want to give me a compliment, you tell me I'm a good father. And that's deep for me because my father wasn't present in my life. And nothing against my father, right? As you grow and you elevate, you realize people do what they can with the skills they're given. Some of us, Kev, can overcome that, right? Some of us can, for me, I was able to overcome not having my dad in my life. I knew what that void was, and so I worked hard to make sure I wasn't that person. So that meant the master gunnery sergeants, the master sergeant Kevin Thompson's, there's some sergeant, there's some corporal that didn't have a dad that's watching you interact with your son and your family, and they're learning how to be a father through you. I had to be that person in the military. There were people, Master Gunner Clark, he would always bring his son around. To every event, he had his son with him. And so for me, that was me. I wanted to make sure my son was involved in everything that we did. So to my dad's point was, I'm not mad at him. He was who he was. But family, Kev, man, like I said, we travel together. We're into travel. We sit and have dinner together. My family is super dope. They laugh. They have dance parties. I would joke we're kind of like the Huxtables. If I can compare us to somebody. Now things are not perfect. Don't get. Of course. I mean, everything has adversity and challenges and stuff like that. But when it comes to family, Kev, I can sit and talk all day about family, man. We try to make it an effort to make memories. We make it an effort to be present for each other. We make it an effort to sit around and have dinner. COVID was one of the best things. Really? I mean, and I say that respectfully because a lot of people lost during COVID. But for us, we were together 24/7, watching TV shows, binge watching, walking, going out walking togetger. Quietly, I wish we could have a positive COVID event like COVID. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, we never respected anybody. We know what COVID brought us, but I wish we can create that again in some positive way where the world kind of just slows down and we all could just spend times with our loved ones and uninterrupted, because that's what it was. The jobs didn't matter. School didn't matter. It was just about who you had in front of you. So I hope that answers your question about family.
Man, it does, man. I feel like I gotta 100% agree with you, man. Whenever I'm at work and a Marine trusts me with his information and he's like, oh, my wife's pregnant or my girlfriend's pregnant, the first thing I tell him, I'm like, get ready to be introduced to the best job ever.
Yes.
Like it's even hard to put into words, even for master communicators, right? Like to be like, there's some times where I'll be around the house and I just look at my children and I'm just like, damn, like that's us. Like me and Mariah, we
Right.
I was joking with my oldest daughter the other day. She walked in me and my wife's room and I said, babe, look at that. I said, we did that right there.
Yes.
And of course she gets all weird because she's like, oh, whatever, dad. But like, it's something about that flow state as a family. And you know, for the ones who have the luxury of having those environments, because not everybody, you know, comes from that.
Yeah.
I will tell you that it's just feels right. I couldn't even put it any other way, but it just feels right. And you feel like you're doing something that's pouring into many generations to come, just by taking the effort to be present.
Question for you. My father-in-law told me this. He was like, because I had my son first. Ours is, you know, me and you are reversed. You had your girls first and your son.
Right.
And my father-in-law would always tell me, he said, when you have a daughter, there's nothing like it. They treat you like a king.
Yes.
I want to ask you a question. Like, how did you feel? Did you feel a different love between your daughters and your son? Like KJ and your daughters?
Yeah. So that's a great question. Because I would say that boys and girls are definitely different. I would say one is not better than the other.
Absolutely.
But I love the uniqueness that both give. Rightfully so, I feel like in our family, our girls take their cues from mom, right? Like they see how mom acts. They have a lot of characteristics. Yep. They may have my eyes, but they have everything else from mom, right? Like, and man, I would say that my daughters, they definitely pull at my heartstrings.
Yes.
They can have me wrapped around their finger. I could try to put up a front, but they know what's up. They can tell me to do anything and I'm like, all right, baby, you know, I got you. My son, again, same amount of love, but it just manifests itself differently, right?
Well, Kev, we want them. I think it's the innate of maybe how we were raised. We want to instill toughness in him. You want to, this thing about being the man, and
True.
There's things that you have to give him that we expect a man to be. And just like your wife has to give the girls things that you expect a woman to be. So it's always that dynamic.
This is true, because I feel like it's crazy because KJ, my son, he's 5. He picks up his cues from me, even down to having kids will tell you a lot about yourself, right? So like how I watch the game, and I'm like, dang, Steph, you should have hit that 3. Next game that comes on, he's like, dang, Steph, you should have hit that 3. And I'm like, he's paying attention, you know? And I think that's the luxury of being a parent, because you know you're always in the spotlight as far as you have people looking at you, wondering like, okay, how does this fit for me? Because I come from that, you know? So I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like,
another analogy I give you, my daughter stumps her toe on something.
Yes.
Come here, babe. You okay? My son stumps it. Toughen up, dude. Like, come on, bro. Like,
do you think that and I've always wondered this, because we try to, I grew up in a very traditional family as well, Baptist church, the whole 9, very traditional Black family, I would like to say. But there are some things where like, as we evolve as people, I try to ask myself like, okay, if I'm caring about my daughter like this, could I do a better job? Even though I want my son to be tough, is there an alternate route? Or not even necessarily alternate, but is there a way I can look at this differently to make sure he still feels the same love and that he's just not getting dad saying, toughen up? I've always questioned myself when it comes to things like that. I don't know if I'm doing it right or not, but I try.
You're doing it right because you're doing it. Let's start there.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right, Kev. My son's older than yours now, right? And my wife, and it goes to having a good spouse and a good partner, she's had to check me a few times because I'm significantly, this is a flaw in me, right? Talking about having authentic conversations. I'm much tougher on him than I am my daughter, right? And the way me and him interact, I've had to make a concerted effort. Kev, I tell my daughter I love her more than I tell him. And it's all in my mind about trying to make him tough and things like that. So I've had to make a concerted, especially I coached him for years. So I coached him in football. And so you have that whole dynamic and stuff like that. And so over the last 3 years, man, I've been in overdrive. And not that I've done nothing wrong, but to your point, being reflective, like I want to make sure that he knows I love him. Just like I love my daughter. Like we had got to the point, it hit me in my heart. My wife had said, you guys don't hug anymore. And so when he came to hug me, it could be the whole 16-year-old weird, kid thing. Man, he hugged. It was just like he didn't even know how to hug me anymore.
Wow.
And so I had to do some deep looking in the mirror about my approach and make sure I was real with myself, because to your point, I want him to feel that love. I want him to know that, yes, I want you to be tough, but I also want you to, Dad loves you. We can talk. I mean, my son do a lot of cool things. We have for the last 8 years, we do a father-son trip. We go to Saints game somewhere in the country. We visited. We have steak dinners together. Like we talk a lot. But to your point, I want to make sure unfiltered, emotional, like I'm there for him, and he knows that. Not just this tough, stern Marine figure. My dad, like you hear people, my dad was a Marine. No, let's have soft conversations. Let's talk about things that are alien. I ask him, how's your day? Like, how are you doing, buddy? You need anything?
Yeah.
Like, so just trying to work there, man, be reflective there was big for me.
Yeah, I feel like it's just all part of growth.
Yes.
And of course, we got handed, or we saw it, like, what do they say? There's a saying says, we model what we follow.
Yes.
Right. So like, we only go off of really our initial meeting with something is we're seeing it, how it happened to us. And we're going to usually follow in the steps of what we saw. But for us to be able to take a detour and say like, okay, maybe there may be, just consider curiosity, like there may be a better way to do this.
Absolutely.
And not even blaming because our parents were handed a certain level or a certain scenario that they had to deal with as well. They had to get us to where we're at. So I always just try to make sure I'm trying to do it the best way possible.
That question you said, I wish... I've been in, I write and I journal a lot now, right? I have a board right in front of my desk, because if you write it down, it's more, the study shows that you're more prone to complete it if it's written down.
Of course.
I have a board, like a big dry erase board with a bunch of just thoughts and notes on it that I look at on a daily basis.
Yes.
That question you just said, that probe, what can I have done better? If more people ask that in more situations, so many relationships, partnerships, business-ships, whatever you call it, would be so much better. And Caleb, I've had to do that a lot the last 3 years with my son and in my marriage. Hey, what can I do better? Because it starts with the guy in the mirror.
You're right. Oh my goodness. I think that segues perfectly to wrap up our harvest section, because I feel like just in what you've given us so far, we know a little bit more about Darius Griffin and the person that we're going to be talking to today. What I like to segue in doing is moving on to our next segment, which we call the toss-up.
Okay.
Of course, all of these segments have something to do with salad, but we call this next one the toss-up. Now, the toss-up is just kind of like a little game that we're going to play to spicing up the conversation a little bit. So I have a bowl in front of me. It's called the Salad Bowl, from the Salad Bowl podcast, right? And there's some predetermined questions that I put in there. They're all random, but I'm gonna hand the bowl to you.
Okay.
You'll reach in, hand me a question. I'll read it for you, and then we'll just kind of. It's usually like an either or question.
Sounds good.
And we'll talk about it, and we'll see how we make it through this one.
Let's
all
do
right,
it.
you down for
ready.
that?
I'm down
All
for
right,
it.
Cool. Here we go. What's the first
All
one?
right, let's grab one here.
You can hand
I'm
it
sorry,
back to
hands
me.
you.
Yeah,
Got it.
okay, yeah,
Didn't
we
follow
good.
directions. Yep.
All right, here we go. The first question of the toss-up for the Salad Bowl podcast is, pick one to talk about. The moment where you almost quit, or the moment when you knew you make it?
The moment where I almost quit, or the moment I knew I would make it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go because I'm an optimist. I'm a glass half full guy. I'm gonna go with the moment I knew I would make it. It goes back to your earlier question. I feel like, Kev, I can answer that several times because I've been overcoming obstacles a lot in my life. And I'm not talking about, I like to tell people, make sure I put things in perspective. I didn't have no grave disease or, this life altering. I had little small, I wouldn't even call them small, but I had battles to overcome. Like I said, I could have easily sold drugs. I was in that era. I'm riding with my friends and seeing them have rocks in their pocket. Smoking weed. There's so many things the road could have been so different for me. And so I think I would take it back to boot camp, Kev. I had a story where I was a diet recruit, like because I was a jock. I've always had big legs and a butt and stuff like that. I've always ran around at 200 pounds. But as you know, 5'9" in the Marine Corps, 186 is that still that number.
That's your
the
limit.
Number still hunts me. I know it like the back of my head, right?
Yeah.
I went into recruit training with the double white lines, diet recruit. And so one thing that, as athletic as I was, I could not do the rope climb for the first few weeks.
Oh, wow.
Could not do it, Kev. Like that was the bane of my existence, climbing the rope. I can do and it's funny, and no disrespect to any bigger guys or any. I didn't look like everybody else who couldn't climb the rope.
Right.
Right. I didn't physically, I didn't look like them, but I just could not figure it out. And so one day I got a letter from my mom. I was telling her, hey, I'm struggling. Every week I'm getting wore out because I can't get up this rope. And she writes me back, hey, next time before you get it, say a prayer before you get up the rope and go. And so I get up to the rope, say prayer, God, thank you. Just let me get up this rope. Like I've been climbing the rope for weeks, Kev.
Wow.
And so ever since that moment and in recruit training and everything in life, I know I can make it if I bet on myself, if I believe in myself. So my belief system, it all evolves around believing in myself, knowing I can get through it. So every time I face an obstacle, Kev, I believe that I can make it. So it's kind of roundabout to answer the question. That moment for me, recruit training, taught me that I know I can make it in that moment, but now I know I can make it in any moment in life. So anytime something presents to me, I believe in myself. I believe in just in the thought of doing it and not even thinking about what's going to go wrong. And if it goes wrong, long as I'm not dead, I have another chance. You know what I'm saying, to get it right. So
yeah, it's crazy how that physical obstacle takes like a figurative approach for life. Like you have something in front of you. You may have failed a bunch of times doing it, but sometimes it just takes a little prayer. Sometimes it takes a little bit of belief, and sometimes it takes you to get that message from the people that really know you the most for you to be able to get up that rope. Man, that's a special,
And I think to your question, to the toss up, we talk about being reflective. That question doesn't stop. It's going to it showed up for me a few more times in my career, in life, where I knew I would have to reassure myself that I would make it. There were several different times. I can tell you several instances where I was faced with something and I had to believe and know I was going to make it, or I've arrived. And man, I got, like I said, 3 degrees. I was selected the master gunnery sergeant and turned it down.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought, right?
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? There's my job. I just got a crazy award at my job. I just did one of the, in 4 months, I built a system and programs at Verizon that going into it, I had to believe that I would make it. And again, it's almost like I arrived. So that question keeps coming up.
Oh my goodness. It's crazy how life keeps on presenting us with, I would say they're opportunities to show what we're actually made of.
Yep, absolutely.
Man, great answer. We're going to go ahead and move to question 2.
Let's do it. I'll keep wanting to read myself.
You're good. All right, here we go. This is a really good one because I feel like this kind of speaks to some of our time together.
Okay.
Here's the question. Question number 2 of the toss-up. What's more important, pushing through pain or knowing when to rest?
Great question. Great question. More importantly, it's knowing when to rest for me now at 43 years old.
Okay.
As you've talked about this because we're both, I'm past and you're entering the phase that I've already went through, the reflective phase, and we never start reflecting, but you see things differently. At our point now, it's knowing when to rest. And it's always been knowing when to rest. But at one point, I'm sure both of us, it was pushed through the pain, right? Keep going, keep grinding. So knowing when to rest, man, is just, Kev, that's a great question, man. Like there have been so many times when I look back, had I just pulled off to the side of the road, hypothetically in life, and took a break, I could have approached that situation or that thing or that mountain so much differently. Because when you're exhausted, when you're mentally and physically exhausted, you're trying to go up a hill, there's so many things that are going wrong. So knowing when to rest, especially now, and I'm starting to really understand that. This, Kev, I'll pause. Like, say I'm here. I'm about 45 minutes south of my mom's house. I could have went to my mom's house and slept there. She wants me there. But I needed a break. I've been grinding all week with wife and kids. I just booked me a hotel room. And
Smart.
Last night I went out with some friends. I had dinner. Slept in today. Because I'm knowing when to rest when I prepare for Monday when it comes up. So knowing when to rest, I would say to anybody listening now, take a second. Now, let's be responsible. You can't rest. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody gonna say, he said, know when to rest, right?
Right.
Know when to, and it's so funny, Kev. That's one of the things that made us successful when I was a staff officer. I was recruiting. I would tell my recruiters, guys, I would rather you go home. I think I showed you. I would rather you go home and take a nap and power up, because I don't want you out here for 14 hours just dragging and going through the motions. Take you 2-3 hours, go do whatever it is that you do. Play video games, sleep, nap,
recharge,
and then come back, and because I'd rather you be full and on recharged than just dragging through the motions. So knowing when to rest, man, that's powerful. You know,
it's interesting because I think that the opposite side of that conversation or question, where we talk about pushing through pain. I was actually talking to somebody we both know, Matthew Bradham, not too long ago. And I was just explaining to him how a lot of the things that we do as young men is like a play off of pride. Like pushing through pain is like a pride point for us, right? We're like, oh, I got to show. And really at the end of the day, it's like, who are you trying to show that you are about to get burnt out? Like that's really the question, but it's hard for us to like pull off of it because our pride is involved with it because we think it's a reflection of us. But I think it's with maturity, you start seeing like, no, I need to take a rest here. You know what? I need to say no to that conversation or to being there because it's not going to benefit me or it's going to take too much from other people. And if I have my priorities in line, then I need to rest.
Yes.
Right. And I think there's much value in understanding that side.
I agree. I would take it a step further with that question. You talk about pain. Where does pain typically come from? You know, we have injury where a freak accident, you get in pain, right? There's certain things unavoidable. But when I reflect on my pain, most of it, it's from a lack of. Gain weight. Yeah, it's painful to get back in shape.
Yeah.
Stop running. I don't run as fast. It's painful to get back there.
Right.
I don't lift as much weight. It's painful to get back there. So in life, I don't have enough conversations with my wife. The conversations get painful. You know, so I would challenge you with that question, right? I would tell people the daily exercise of keeping the pain away, like everything else in life, is important because pushing through the pain, a lot of it, we cause that pain out. We've created and stacked that pain, and it's just waiting for us.
It is.
Right? In business, you know, they give a recruiting analogy. If you don't do stuff, the pain is waiting for you towards the end of the month.
Yes.
So,
and it's inevitable.
It's inevitable, right?
You're going to run into it.
Yes, you're going to run into it. So don't create the pain.
Yes.
Try your best to alleviate the pain by doing those day-to-day things that keep the pain away.
Oh, man, I love that answer.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on to the next question.
Let's do it.
Man, that was good.
All right.
Back
to you.
Here we go. Question 3 of the toss-up. Would you rather recruit the athlete or the artist? And if we're talking about recruiting, I mean for the organism, for the Marine Corps.
The athlete or the artist? That's a good one for me. I think a very thought-provoking question. I would probably say the athlete because that's who I am. You know, I had a master who used to always tell me we kind of recruit our likeness.
Yes.
I'm an athlete. I'm a jock. I think I would recruit the athlete because initially there's more common ground for me and him or me and you. We're athletes, but there's so many things that we have rapport built already that we can talk about and understand. So I think by recruiting him, there's less. Yes, I would have to know and learn with the artist, learn about that person, him or her, which is a good thing too. But for me, I think the athlete, it would make things so much easier because we're already at a starting point that me and the artist isn't.
Yes.
Which again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing because there's growth in knowing the artist. I'm sure the artist will teach me stuff as well. But the athlete, give me that person. One, I know they're in shape, mentally, physically. I would take the athlete all day. It's just a little easier for me.
Yeah, I like that too. Cause you know, I had a previous episode with a staff sergeant in the Marine Corps, and we were just talking about the SDA pipeline, the special duty assignment pipeline with drill instructors and recruiters. And I asked her like, who's more influential to you? And like most Marines, they say the drill instructor, you know, like, and as she was talking, I was realizing like maybe there was a flaw in my question because I don't think that recruiters are there you can influence, but you're more there to make the impression.
Right.
Make the initial impression. And this is why I'm like, I think that the training pipeline for the Marine Corps, we see it as competition, but it really is just, it's working together.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to make the impression in these dress blues for somebody to say, or even question, maybe I could do what that guy does. So maybe me talking to an athlete, I have a better chance of, or actually when it comes to representation, he might have a better chance of seeing himself inside of me rather than the artist. And so I can make an easier impression there for the drill instructor to make that influence once he becomes a United States Marine. So I think it's a partnership.
Yeah, it's definitely a partnership. I think the artist has so much value too. You know,
Agreed.
that's just my personal opinion. But when you become very like me, that was my job was to understand and have consultative conversations.
Yes.
I became very good at understanding, not that I was recruiting you, I was having a consultative conversation with you. I wanted to understand what were your goals in life, and then I wanted to figure out in my toolbox, what do I have that can help you get to your goals in life. So obviously, as a jock, that was a much easier conversation for me. Athlete, it was a much easier conversation for me. Where the artist, I would have to probably dig around there a little bit to really apply what they had.
Of course.
But those consultative conversations are important. And you're right, Kev. I would challenge the norm a little bit, though. And I think for me, this is what separated me and some of the teams I led and some of the people I was with. Yes, the drill instructor is phenomenal at what they do. But me and you both have drill instructor in us.
Of course.
Right. If we wanted
Of course,
to, right?
yes.
So I have to stop. I happened to stop at Stone Mountain a few weeks ago. My son was taking a test, and there was a sign in there that said the transformation begins here. If you ever seen those signs, I was instrumental in those signs because that's how I ran my recruiting stations.
Yes.
The transformation began with me. It wasn't the drill instructor. And even though I can't do what he does, they're phenomenal, but you're going to know your general orders. You're going to know, you're going to bang on my hats before you come in.
Yes.
I treated it just like, because I wanted them to feel the transformation and just not to talk about the Marines too much, but it did start. I was their first impression of the Marine Corps. I wanted to be what you expected. Firm, fair, and consistent.
There shouldn't be any recruit that gets to Parris Island, South Carolina, or that other place. I think they train somewhere else. I'm joking. In San Diego.
And I'm one of those San Diego guys.
Right? So in San Diego, and like they should not be surprised at what they come in contact with. You know, there are some who show up there like, my recruiter don't act like this, but I would say it's more of the expectation management of what the recruiter had for that person rather than the drill instructor doing anything wrong.
Absolutely.
All right, great answer to that question. We're gonna go ahead and move on to question 4.
Okay.
Ready?
Let's do it. Toss up.
Here we go. I feel like we've already hit this one.
Okay.
But I because you said these words a little earlier, but I feel like it's still a necessary question to ask. Would you rather play it safe or bet on yourself?
Yeah, you already know that. you already know nothing in me plays it safe.
Yes.
But respectfully, too safe. It's okay to play it safe sometimes too. Again, Kev, me and my wife always joke about talking to our son, right? My advice to him sometimes is through my experience and from a 43-year-old lens.
Yes.
It's always not my lens, even though it's right, it's not applicable to my 16-year-old because I'm seeing it from a 43-year-old lens. So now I would say, as I started out, I'm always going to bet on myself. But it's okay. I think respectfully, it's okay to play it safe sometimes too.
I agree.
You don't have to swing for the fence every time. Through experience, I've learned that. Sometimes, let's just sit back and see how this plays out.
Yes.
You know, so...
it's interesting because...
And it's hard.
It is hard. It's easier said than done.
Yes.
But it actually reminds me, and it's funny because this conversation is taking me back to, some of the time we spent together in RS Atlanta. And I remember when I became a boss, you were one of our leaders and you used to talk to us often, but there were 3 things that we expected out of our leaders. It was to be a good coach, a good counselor, and to be a good tactician. And like the tactician piece always threw me for a loop because like you said, I think we've talked about it a couple of times in the episode, but like knowing when to break or knowing when to play it safe has a rightful place in the conversation as well. It's not always about just pushing or taking extreme risk. A good tactician understands that there's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So like, I think there is no wrong answer in the question.
No. But if anybody listening, bet on yourself. I would tell you if you're at that road where you have to ask a question, if it's you, I'm betting on you.
Yeah.
I always tell my kids and football players, I think 3 of the biggest 4 words that were ever spoken is I believe in you. So I try anybody, again, Kev, I'm here because I believe in you.
Yes.
I love what you're doing. I'm supporting it. I want this to be the biggest podcast because you're having authentic conversations. This whole platform is about being yourself and being authentic. And like you've talked about on several episodes, there's not many spaces where people can do that. We always have on a face or a front, whether it's in the military or in corporate America, or there's some face or front. So I love what you're doing. I get to come here and just be myself. There's you set the stage from the minute I walked in. This is just about authentic conversation. So I love it. But two things I love this. I just noticed that bow, it has the salad. I love the attention to detail there on that bow on the toss-up.
Somebody told me it's the little things,
Yes,
right?
it is the little things. And then I know we got to move on, but I want to go back to this, to put things in perspective for you. The last time I had to bet on myself was in the Marine Corps. For anybody, our military friends watching, we work our tails off to become the next rank, the highest rank. My goal when I started, I wanted to be a master gunnery sergeant in recruiting. I worked and sacrificed. I talked about my wife, and there were hours, Kev, that I put in. There were family vacations. There were games I missed to get to the point to be selected as a master gunnery sergeant, the pinnacle of my military recruiting career. But I started to notice, you talk about reflecting, like where you're at. I started to notice what my core values were and what the Marine Corps core values were. They were starting to get misaligned. And let me be clear on this for anybody watching. The Marine Corps core values are always amazing. They're firm, they're true, they don't change. But those of us that are put in place to enforce those core values is where it gets tricky.
Agreed.
And so it started to get tricky for me, for the people that were enforcing the core values and how they, treated the rules and things like that. So for me, I had to bet on myself. I had a decision to make. I was selected to master gunnery. I had a number. If I take that number, I'm getting shipped off to Cleveland, Ohio to be the recruiting instructor there, which I knew was an open chest wound. Like I was going back again to 16, 18 hours a day, grinding, of work. And that didn't scare me. But I knew I had much more to offer. And so I made a decision to bet on myself. And one of the most empowering things I've ever done was assigning an Appendix J and telling the Marine Corps that I was not going to accept the Master Gunnery Sergeant promotion. And I was going to go out into the civilian workforce and bet on myself.
Man.
I got emails, calls. You screwed over another Marine, and and maybe for some that was the point, but I didn't feel that way. Right. I worked to earn my selection. I was out there working to get this 285 PFT. I was out here doing the things I needed to do to get Master Gunnery Sergeant. So, but I bet on myself, and sure enough, to bring this question full circle, I hit it out the park. I landed an amazing job.
Yes.
My skills are appreciated. There's so much growth for the job I landed, and it was amazing. So I would tell people, if you're at that place, to bet on yourself. Where are you? Even my wife. What are you doing? Like, why would you?
Yes.
She didn't even see the vision, where I was going to go. But I bet on myself, man. So bet on yourself.
I feel like, man, you're speaking some truth right now, man, because like, this is what I appreciate about our relationship. You're about 5-6 years ahead of me, and I see a lot of myself in you, right? And I think I was telling Mariah the other day, I'm like, one of the hardest things for me to do right now is to bet on myself, because I've never had to do it before. In this military bubble, there's so much security. You got this safety net. You got, even when we're junior Marines, I spend all my money. I can still go to the chow hall and get something to eat if I want to, right? Like, we have this safety net. So I think sometimes we lack at betting on ourselves and actually seeing our true potential and our true value. Now that I'm coming towards the end of this thing, I remember how freeing it was when I was like, I'm no longer interested in chasing the carrots that the Marine Corps puts in front of me. And again, there's nothing wrong with the Marine Corps.
No, this is not an indictment on phenomenal.
Yes, phenomenal. I grew a lot here, but there was just something about saying, you know what? I came, I saw, I conquered, I worked hard, but it's time to move on. And I know that in moving on, I'm armed with and equipped with the skills to make it through this world. And that's one thing I'm really looking forward to. We were talking prior to the show, and I was like, even if I have to fall on my face a couple of times to figure it out, I'm excited about it, rather than being scared to get out of this safety net of what has, ushered me along for the last 20 years.
And here's the key, Kev, and I want to be respectful, because I know you have a military, a lot of members are military. This is not encourage anybody to get out the Marine Corps. Everybody's scenario and situations are different.
True.
I had several people call me. When I did it, it hadn't been done before. Like nobody had turned down Master Gunny, right? I got a lot of calls from my peers asking me what went into my decision. And it's to what you said. I want people to know, I would have that conversation. I'm betting on myself. You, a corporal, and I'm seeing it now, now that I'm on the other side, the Marine Corps equipped us after 4 years that most people will never, the challenges, the adversity,
Yes.
the being away from home, there's so much that in 4 years, you're prepared for more than the average person.
Yes.
So you better yourself. You're not going to, I have no concerns about you. And the last piece I'll say before we move on is that for us, Kev, and for most people, if you stay, you already know you're going to reach the top. There's no, that you could, I knew I held, I was a BRC instructor. There was nothing else. I was the RI. There was, what else would I have done?
Exactly.
Like,
Other than, I think that's my biggest fear is like, if I've already reached the highest heights of what I expected winning to feel like, I feel like all that's left is opportunities for me to become complacent.
Yes.
And for me to become the villain, right? Like, and I feel like, you know, for a lot of people out there, maybe I am still a villain, but I would like to think I'm a hero for a lot of people as far as when they look at my career, what I've been able to do. But like, I've seen that go sour so many times. And it's actually a fear of mine when I'm like, if I stick around, that could be me. And I'd rather I guess that's how Tom Brady left the NFL, right? Like, I want to go away on my own terms.
On your own terms.
And I just think that it may be necessary, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely a conversation that it should be internally had with our individuals.
And it's so freeing. I mean, you shared the same. I remember seeing you at all hands when I used to sit back and just at a pool function. I used to sit back and watch you guys. I think I may have said something to you. You were walking out with your shoes untied. Like you were being Kev. You were being yourself. It's so freeing just to be able to be yourself.
It is.
And again, I can let my hair, and these are small things, right?
Yes.
People are like, man, I can grow a goatee.
Yeah.
I can wear ice. I can let my shoes, because I'm like you. Sometimes I just wear my shoestrings untied.
Yes.
But as a Marine, I would never, as a
Exactly.
senior enlist especially, I thought how I looked before I went out. Like I wanted to make sure I got a proper fitting. But if you just get relaxed grip, I like style and fashion. I like cut up jeans and you know, so.
Exactly. I feel like that's been a lot of the not disconnect, but like I think you said it, misalignment is like I think the longer that I'm in, I'm starting to realize there is value in authenticity.
Yes.
Again, I know that our organization, as far as the Marine Corps, is a particular business.
Yes.
Hence why I want that business to continue. And if it has to be without me, that's fine. I've given what I need to give in order to find my authenticity. Because I can't even say without the Marine Corps, Kev would be who he is today.
Absolutely.
So I'm finding a lot of gratitude behind it. But I will say that, like we keep on circling and back around it, is like when you know, somebody told me you'll know when it's time to retire. When you know, you know. And I think I was sitting in my office one day and I was just like, it's time. You know,
I knew before that, Kev. Like I knew at like year 18, it was already starting to like. It was starting to wear on me. I knew. So
yes, I wonder if it's a thing like we see. The Marine Corps is of course like a career, but like I feel like I kind of grew out of it. Like it did what it was supposed to do, and like I grew past that point. Not saying that anybody who's still in that growing process, there's anything bad about that.
Not
it's
at all.
needed, but it's like, man, I don't fit in this box anymore. That's how
I felt the same way.
Yeah.
I got to and for me, Kev, again, like I said, my experience was a little different because all my friends were older master gunnery sergeants. And you got to be, anybody watching, you got to be careful with that too. For me, I had a sneak peek on the outside. I saw all my friends who had retired 4 or 5 years before me out here killing it. And I'm like, so I had I had the opportunity, the benefit of seeing them. And so it made my decision
that much easier.
Yeah, I'm like, kind of like you see me.
Yes.
Like,
you're killing it.
Right, I'm killing. Like, if he's doing it,
man, I got a chance at it. I got a chance at it. I was telling Mariah the other day, I said, I don't know anybody who has served 20 years in the military and then got out and said, man, I wish I would have stayed in.
No one ever said that.
No one ever said that.
No one ever said that. Because
That's
immediately, it just, won't get into it, but the benefits.
Yeah, you can't beat it.
You've done the work. Yeah,
you've done the work. Yeah. Okay, we got our last question of the toss-up. Here we go. Last question of the toss-up. Oof. In your experience, has pressure made more diamonds or burst more pipes?
Made more diamonds or bust more pipes? For me, it's unique. Pressure has made more diamonds for me. I've seen some pipes bust, Kev. Yes.
I'm sure.
Catastrophic damage, right? You know what I'm saying? I've seen some pipes bust. Made more diamonds for me, but I'm asking both of the questions. I apologize. But there's beauty again, this is the 43-year-old reflective.
Yes.
There's so much beauty and opportunity when those pipes bust. So often I think people just look at the pipe busting, but what caused that pipe to bust?
Oof.
That was the pipe bust in our yard, Kev, but there is something
Going on bigger.
blocks away
Yes.
that allowed that pipe to bust. And if we can go back and examine that, I think we allow ourselves to grow and be better and not make those mistakes again. But I've also seen the beauty of pressure, seeing the diamond flourish, man. And especially in recruiting, I got to see that a lot.
Yes.
I've seen guys that walk up to me. I remember being at BRC. I just talked to him. I have a friend that's a master gunny. He was just here. Speaking of that, one of my friends decided to stay in. He's getting retired 30 years. Ricka, I don't know if you knew Ricka was on the streets when he's a warrant officer now, but I remember Ricka vividly coming to me at BRC. We were evaluating kids.
I do remember
and Ricka
Ricka
coming to me and he's saying, "Man, sorry, I can't talk." He struggled with English, you know. He's
Yes.
like, I can't.
English was a second language.
Second language,
Yes.
right? So he can go and do this. He doesn't realize it. What I would always do when people try that, and he wasn't trying nothing. I think he was sincerely trying to articulate his struggle with the communication. I just started having a conversation with him, totally about, "Hey, how's your family? Man, tell me, where are you from again?" I'm acting like I'm writing stuff down. What do you do for fun? And he's just naturally speaking to me, having the conversation. And I look up to him and I say, "Bro, you can talk.
Yeah.
You'll be fine out there." Check his box and go off. Long story short, Ricka comes out on recruiting duty and is one of the best.
Yes. He rocked it down.
Could have been
there.
80 for 12 if he chose.
Yep.
But he went on to be a warrant officer back in his legal MOS. And I
Yes.
just talked to him on the phone the other day because the master, he works for the master gunny now. Or the master gunny works for him, however you want to put that. But the pressure of him thinking he couldn't talk was another diamond. I saw that. I mean, you got it. There's so many stories, man, where I've seen kids under immense pressure and they overcome it and learn things about themselves. Me and you, Kev, I've learned things about myself due to pressure.
Yes.
Pressure has made me make some decisions as well that I probably wouldn't have made.
Yes.
But I think there's beauty in both, man. But I think it's important to look back. If there is the pipe busting, there's something that made that pipe bust. It isn't just the bust that we see now. There was something down the road that made it bust.
Man, that is such a good insight on that. Mainly because I always talk about this example of, say, for example, we work in a building, you have your own office, and every day when you walk into your office, there is a puddle on the ground because the ceiling is dripping, right? There's a leaky pipe up there, and every morning you come in and you mop up the floor, and you're like, dang, man, and every morning you come in, it's another puddle there, and you keep on mopping up the floor. The thing that the person who keeps on mopping up the floor is doing is ignoring what the real problem is. The real problem is the leaky pipe up ahead of us, and sometimes it's necessary for us to stop mopping up the floor to actually be able to address the real issue in the room. And I think that when it comes to things like that, like we're talking about this busting pipes as a bad thing, but usually, like you said, there is a systematic problem that's happening way bigger than just that pipe busting. And there's value in both seeing that side and having the diamonds created from that busting.
I love that pressure. That analogy, Kevin, and being authentic. Man, I can't tell you how many times I've been the mopper. I've held that mop.
Yeah, we all have. We all have.
Man, I've held that mop many of days. Even when I knew I knew I need to get up there, but I just chose the mop.
Yeah. Things that we reflect about nowadays, man. And that's what, this is what I truly appreciate about not just you sitting down today with me, but like one thing that I've always seen in you is like, you've always been authentic to say like, you know what, maybe there is a different way to look at that. Oh, I didn't consider that. And I always thought that was a brand of your leadership that was like, you know what you see is what you get with Griff. You're not holding any cards with us, and so I appreciate that, man. But that wraps up the toss up, man. All right, so we're going to move into our next segment for the day. The next segment we like to call mixed ingredients. All right. And there were some predetermined topics that I really wanted to discuss with Griff that I needed to pick his brain. There were some questions that I had. I met you when I was on recruiting duty. Who we're talking to, y'all have already found out that he's a master recruiter, master communicator. But after leaving recruiting duty for me, because I didn't stay to be a career recruiter, I've dealt with looking back and questioning a lot of different things. And I think that I want to take a systematic approach on, I like to ask myself, is there a better way to do what we do as far as the aggressiveness of how we attain the mission for our Marine Corps? I feel like it's necessary to ask you now because you're no longer in that capacity. I'm headed towards retirement. I feel like we can have some positive communication because I truly feel that we still have Marines going through the pipeline. And I also think that in some cases we're busting a lot of pipes, and sometimes busting a lot of pipes looks like the end of a career. Unfortunately, suicide. Do you think that there's a way to improve the duty of being recruiters for our Marines?
That's a phenomenal question, Kev. I think you can always improve anything. I think the duty, though, because we're dealing with humans, what makes recruiting, that's what makes recruiting so difficult. You're dealing with things that are so out of our control.
Yes.
From not only the Americans that we're trying to find, but even us. Recruiting exposes the recruiter to things that for the most part, they've never been experienced to as a Marine. We put you outside of the gates. There's really no truly left and right lateral limits. There's no gate to go in, right? You're out in the wild, trying to find America's best and brightest. I think there can definitely be a way we can improve it. And like you said, we've seen careers lost. But I think at the essence, I think for being a Marine, it goes back to who we are as being Marines, right? So we have to put you in there because we don't know whether you're going to be a diamond or it's going to bust a pipe. There have been a lot of great Marines found combat veterans, right? And respect, that's the toughest duty in the Marine Corps, having to be in the front line and fight, right? We always going to give respect to that.
Of course.
But on recruiting duty, Marines have found out who they are. They've medals been tested. I've seen guys with Purple Hearts. I'm talking about a Marine's Marine come to me and say, you know what, I'd rather go back, give me an M16, and I'd rather be on the front line than fighting with these 16-year-old kids, right? 17-year-old kids. So I think it's a needed evil. I think how we look at it should be different. So if I'm commandant for the day, right, we have to give respect to regulations and rules. If you do certain things, if you let the duty, you go and sleep with a pulley. That's not the pressures of duty. That's a personal flaw.
That is a personal flaw.
You know what I'm saying? That's a personal
character
so we got
flaw.
A character flaw.
Yes.
So we have to make sure we separate those things. You not meeting your numbers, you not doing something systematically. Those are things I want to look at and train to. I want to make sure we consider. I don't want to stop a Marine from being a staff sergeant or messing his career up because of things he couldn't get right on recruiting duty. You have people like myself whose job is to analyze, train, and make a decision on whether or not this is for you. But to your point, I don't want to see Marines lose their career because they couldn't get this right. But I also have to gauge, because again, that's where the human element comes in, Kev. We have to gauge whether you're giving your 100% effort, because there are Marines, we have our 10%. There are Marines that want to quit, that want to find an easy way out. Of course we have those. So to roundabout answer, man, it's a difficult one. I think it's a necessary evil that we have to go through. I think there's always ways that we can make that duty more better. I think, again, it goes back to those human elements, right?
Of course.
Because that's the beauty of being a leader.
Yes.
You have some colonel in here, for example, I'll use the colonel that we dealt with. Why it makes the duty tough. Why do we have to close out on the first of the month? We got 31 days.
Yes.
When you were on the streets, a lot of our pressure came from because we were trying to close out
on the first of the month,
which was an unnecessary evil.
Exactly.
We're ending. That's the stuff that kept me up at night and want to have honest conversations.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't push us, don't motivate us, sir. We all want to be great. But if we're not getting there, it shouldn't cost me or cost us a career or put us in a weird situation because of something you just want, not a rule.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up because, like, of course, you saw me grow and do recruiting duty. I would like to think that I was one of the good ones as far as one. I appreciate that. But I walked away from that duty and I questioned myself on, like, man, was it worth it? And in being vulnerable, because I asked my guests to be, authentic, but I have to practice what I preach as well. Like, me and Mariah were, I can't believe I'm about to tell you this, man. Me and Mariah, there's about like 3 months after I had moved past recruiting duty, and we were driving. We had the kids in the car. We having one of those family times. We're having a good time. And this is after 3 years of being on recruiting duty, first duty station after that, and we're just joking around in the car. And I tell the kids a joke or something like that. Mariah turns to me and she's like, "Oh, there you are."
Wow.
And excuse me. And what's crazy about that is like, man, that job took a lot from me, man. Like I worked hard on there. It made a diamond, but I don't know if the diamond's value was worth what I got, at times. Had a wonderful, time out there, but something happened to me that made me question a lot. There was right after I left recruiting duty, there was a sergeant. I went to MARSOC in Camp Lejeune. There was a sergeant who came and found me. I didn't even know this guy, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on, Gunny?" I was a Gunny at the time. "Oh, I just signed up for recruiting duty. I volunteered." And me, fresh off the duty, I was like, "Why would you do that? Why would you do that?" But real cool kid. He was a motor team Marine. He looked the part. Like when I tell you, like the guy had the attractive look. On top of that, he was well spoken, and I was hesitant to be like, "Oh, like I wouldn't suggest recruiting duty to everybody," but I did tell him, I was like, "Yo, if anybody's gonna be able to do it, it'll be you."
Right.
He motor team Marine, but he worked for the general. Like he was the general's aide just because he was so polished. And so he asked me for a favor. Of course, he's like, "Well, I hear you're big time down in Atlanta."
Right.
I don't know if it was true or not, but he's like, "Can you call the sergeant major and can we work out something? Because I want to go to Atlanta and kind of do following your footsteps." It's kind of like what he told me. And I was like, "Yeah, no big deal, man." So I called down. I talked to Tim Clay, former sergeant major of the RS Atlanta. Shout out Tim. And we try to work this scenario out to where we get him in a good station. He ends up going to Kennesaw, right? And I won't say the Marine's name, but he goes to a historically well-performing area in Atlanta. You have Kennesaw State right there, the whole nine. And about a year went by, probably a little bit less than a year. And this Marine calls me. I was finishing up one of my senior leader workshop classes. It was around chow time. He's always upbeat Marine. And he calls me on the phone. It's been a long time. And I'm like, "Hey, what's up, killer? How you doing, man?" Well, we ask each other.
I'm not on the mission level.
Exactly. How do we do as recruiters? How them streets treating you, man? How are those streets treating you, right? And he tells me, he's like, "Hey, Master Sergeant, I just want to let you know that I'm in my government vehicle, parked in the woods with a gun to my head." And, the Marine's still with us to this day. He's no longer in the Marine Corps, but he didn't kill himself. I sat there and I talked with him, but I was perplexed, man, because like I was sitting there and I wasn't surprised that he was there. I think when he told me, "Hey, I wanted to be a recruiter," back when we were at our unit, that I knew that was a possibility of him being in that position. And I was sitting there, I was like, "Man, what could I have done better?" And I didn't know that was going to be the way that it played out. But these are the things that sometimes I sit with. And I love the organization. I love the work that we do, the image that we have as Marines. But I always think to myself, how can we make it better? And I would be interested in doing it.
And that's tough. I would tell you, though, there was nothing you could do about that. That was our day.
Thank you.
That's what I had to learn. Kev, over 16 years, the things I've seen.
I can only imagine.
Commit suicide, how many guns to the head, how many overdoses, how many drunken vehicles.
Yes.
How many Marines I've seen come out and crash and burn on recruiting duty. And a lot of them, I can't call those character flaws, but the duty exposed things. It puts you in a position that if you have a weakness, you have money issues, you're not as mentally tough. Marriage issues. It's going to challenge everything about you. And that young man you spoke of had some mental battles, right? Yeah. That he had to overcome. And the duty recruiting it tees you up. Yeah. To have to deal with those struggles. And so I had to tell myself, even kids, I've had kids that I've shipped and saw die, doing the plus up. I've had, you name it, just stuff go wrong. And I've had to tell myself that this is all part of the plan. If it isn't this, it's something else. There was something else he was going to meet that was going to make him, going to push him to that point, right? Or maybe it isn't. I don't know, but I think it's a necessary evil because it's almost like you talked about that pipe that's down the street. Yes, that was that young man. Of course. We were able to and him having the word enough to call you and the impression you made on him, he called you, and now we're able to fix him while we still had time.
Yeah, and it's interesting though, because like we brought up a couple of times, like, you know, these could be character flaws, but I think one of my purposes have been, since I've left that duty, to identify, like, in the Marine Corps we get trained for everything,
Yes.
man. We get trained in our MOS. We get trained for the PFT, which is our physical fitness test, our combat fitness test. We get trained on the rifle range. We get trained in the pool.
Right, every scenario.
But then I had to ask myself, Griff, who trains our character?
Man.
You know? And this is not a knock on the Marine Corps, but like I started to identify, man, the things that I picked up along the way were from guys like you, where I saw myself in you, but there was no structure as far as training my character. But your character, like that rifle or being in the pool, that's only a small fraction of time that I spend in the Marine Corps. But like every day the Marine Corps expects for me to show up with my character, yet we don't train to it. And it's one of those things where I'm like, though it's one of those unwritten aspects, I feel like it's necessary that as senior leaders, we have to do that. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. I was fortunate enough when you were talking, I had my first staff into IC trained my character. Like literally, he would take time out to sit and talk to us about just who you are as a person, like how you show up and stuff like that. Like, and so I've always tried to be that leader, you know, because you kind of you emulate who you saw. So he made a difference. He would talk about family. He would talk about, you know, just integrity and being more not even being honest with the Marine Corps, but honest with yourself. And so you're right, Kev. And I think that's where the Marine Corps has they entrust leadership to do that.
Yes.
And unfortunately, like me and you know, all leadership is not created equal. And so that's where we see the fall off at. You get some we got some great leaders in the Marine Corps that teach you all the right things, and you're able to pull and see the bill. And then you got those that just unfortunately don't.
Yeah.
They're all about themselves. And so it's a miss. I wish we could do more character training and talk about more real life stuff. But of course, that's how our great organization is built.
Of course. And that kind of, I don't want to, because I know that you're not in the Marine Corps anymore. Like, I don't want to just have this whole segment sit here and just talk about the past.
But it's a part of who I am. It's a large part.
You're right. You're right. Do you feel like, because you transitioned into the corporate world, do you feel like there are does the corporate world do it better, worse, equivalent? Like, and I'm pretty sure it's probably specific to the companies and environments that you're in. But like, do you think that the military could take some pages out of the corporate book, or is something like the opposite, right? To where the corporate world can take some pages out of the Marine Corps book? Newsflash.
The Marine Corps is 20 times better than the corporate America. Yes, there are things in corporate America that are amazing, right? They have for my company, we have amazing resources, right? My company is amazing. But again, it's still upon leadership.
Oh,
it always goes back to human element.
Yes.
It's going to be hard to get rid of. But there's so much that I think about at my company that I can take, like SOPs and turnovers. Like, we don't even do that. You show up if I hired you today and you showed up, I'll just tell you word of mouth what you have to do. where in the Marine Corps, you're going to get a whole turnover binder. There's SOP, there's inspections and years of stuff that you can look back and historical data to kind of piece this together. In corporate America, man, they don't do that. You fly on your own.
Wow.
So you talk about there's no character building. They have.
You better just come with it.
Yeah, they have character. They have, and it's not set up for you it's totally different than our institution. But I wish I can take some of the skills and some of the systems that we have in the military and the Marine Corps and put in corporate America. It would make things so much better.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it would make things so much better.
I can't even lie to you. I've somewhat asked myself, because I feel like that. I've talked to many Marines like you who have crossed over into the corporate world, and though the money is amazing, you see some of the things where you're like, oh, we would have done that differently in the Corps. I feel like that is a space that probably monetarily can be capitalized off of, and one that I'm looking into as far as like, if I wanted to build a business, it would be probably in that right. But I think because I've only been in the Marine Corps, I haven't been exposed to the corporate side. I'm just making sure that I'm observing right now and diagnosing the right thing, right?
One of the things that has allowed me to excel in corporate America is the skills, the managerial and leadership skills that I have from the Marine Corps, right?
Got it.
15 minutes prior, it's obviously we're not showing up.
Right.
I do a lot of calls all day, right? I'm on remote or in meetings all day, and I'm on calls all day. Well, I'm always the first one on the call. I open the calls up. It almost is a running joke. They know I knew you would be here.
Yep.
Right? And I'm saying to myself, you're right, I'm going to be here.
Yes.
In corporate America, it's fashionably okay to be 1 or 2 minutes late. Oh, we're gonna start the meeting 2, 3 after.
Oh wow.
But I'm always there, and so it allows me to build rapport with people as they come on. Hey Tim, hey Mike, hey Jill, how you doing today? We laugh and talk. How's the family? They don't realize it. I'm advancing myself and my brand with them.
Yeah.
There are things that, because I know what a turnover and an SOP is, where it's not created at, I create one. So I've been able to create so much value for myself in corporate America from our institution. So I would tell you, although we got some things to fix, the Marine Corps is still an amazing place, and they're doing so many things right. But when you get to corporate America, man, it's about a dollar sign. Where with us, it's the core values are still exist, and they say and talk about all those different things. They have core values and different models. And this isn't just my company. I talk to friends that are in corporate America too, but we're doing it the right way in the military.
Yeah. Would you say that was it like a culture shock for you when you got to the corporate spaces to realize that what you had been so accustomed to no longer exists, that you had to be the culture that you wanted to see?
For me, it was easy, Kev, because I've been on recruiting, so I've been. There's not like I was this mass sergeant that was in the base, and I've been in the civilian world a lot and interacting. So it was a very easy transition for me, and the reason I say that, and it's going to be for you as well, because I'm just a human. At the end of the day, when you take all this military stuff off me, I know how to have a conversation. I know how to be kind to people. I know how to lead with love and empathy. And those things made it very easy for me because I'm empathetic. I still give the genuine greeting of the day. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing? Things like that we've done naturally. It made it very easy for me. Corporate America is actually very quiet. People are very about themselves. Where we're used to taking care of teamwork. That's the one element I miss. Okay, I'm on a team. But we're really not a team. Like we call you're on this team, but we're really not a team. And so that piece of it was different. But you're going to find, Kev, that and for anybody out there watching, for us a military transition, it's easy to get into. Like you do it very. Before I knew it, I was like, yes, yeah, okay, cool. I'm one of you guys now.
That eases a lot of my anxiety as I get ready to transition. I'm just like, I want to know I'll be able to bring value somewhere.
You trust me. Super easy, going to bring value to you.
Nice. Good to know.
And this is the news flash, just so you know as well, for anybody watching. Nobody cares what you did in the military. Nobody cares how many MSMs I had, and awards, and you may get a thank you for your service every now and again. Right. But exactly. Nobody ever asked me what my rank was. Not even what I did in the military most of the time.
I feel like that for the ones, and you and I both know we have military members like this, but like, they are their rank, right? Like that, they would forfeit their first name for their name to be fill in their rank, right? And I think those are the ones who struggle the hardest once they leave. Where it's like where you have some 22-year-old, 30-year-old person who's calling you by your first name. And you're like, I used to be a Matt Sergeant. I used to be a sergeant. And it's like, no, your name's Bill. Like, why would I have to call you something different? So it's probably got to be an adjustment.
Funny story, we'll move on to this. I have on my team, super smart. I work in marketing sciences, right? So everybody on my team has an MBA, Michigan State grads. I mean, Duke, North Carolina, but they all like, and I'm considered old now. I'm Unc now, right? I'm 43 years old, but they're all like 32, and they're great people. They're amazing people, but they don't have what I have from a leadership perspective. They don't know I've led large scale teams. You know, the things I've done. So when I hear them talk, sometimes. I'm just like, get to the point. Like, what do we, I have to, I don't want to say dumb myself down, but it's that's been the challenge, humbling for me to remember that. And it's okay. I'm perfectly fine just being an individual contributor. But sometimes I'm sitting there like, we could have got to this point a while ago, like 5 meetings ago. We could have done this.
Especially if we think as military people, like we're like bullet thinking, like
5 W's.
Give me the 5 W's. Let's move on. Exactly. Well, man, thanks for that. That's gonna wrap up our mixed ingredients. I feel like we got into some really good topics as far as like recruiting and how the corporate world looks when it comes to the value of our people. And is there a way to do things better, or is there a way for the future that we can hope for a better outcome? But thank you for that. What we're going to do is we're going to quickly move into our next segment. And the next segment is called Dressing It Up.
Yes.
Now, dressing it up is more just talking about your personal branding. You have some things that are working in your life right now that's outside of work, outside of family, that are cultivating a lot of different eyes looking your way. Can you kind of tell us about that, Darius?
Yeah, man. One of the things I did, Kev, I coached sports for years. I was an athlete, a jock. I love coaching football. And so when my son got out of youth football, I'm like, I noticed there was a trend that was going on with young adults. The world has forced them not to conversate anymore. So when you have a lack of doing skill, when you know, skills are perishable. When you don't communicate, when you don't use certain muscles, you lose them. And so I have been telling my friend for years ago, man, I have to teach these kids how to speak. And that's one of the things I always did as a coach. I would make them speak and have a voice for themselves. And so, man, as I'm evolving in a sports world, I would see these interviews with young athletes and they're terrified. Their hands are shaking. They can't complete a thought. They're just struggling with communication and interview skills. So I thought when I was done, you know, making a lot of money, I need a tax write-off. What can I do positive? I made a podcast. So we call it Sports Told by Youth, which you know of. And it's a play on our words, Sports Told by Youth, because we allow kids, we have a platform just like you have this beautiful platform here. We have all the different Shure microphones and it's all run and done by kids. But the premise of the show is we teach public speaking and interview skills. So the same communications package that I used to teach at BRC at recruiter school, I, you know, dotted a couple of I's, crossed a couple of T's, changed a few words around, chat GPT'd a few things. And I made a public speaking course for kids, for athletes. And so before you come on the show, you have to attend an hour-long session training with me where I give them just some basic tenets of public speaking skills. What do you do with your nonverbals? What do you do with your hand contact, you know, your gestures? What do you do with your eye contact, your tone? How to complete a thought, something you remember. The difference between an open probe and a closed probe. We have them read scripts. We have them do, you know, commercials, like little fake commercials and stuff like that, just to practice. But the whole premise of the show is we're teaching them public speaking and interview skills. And so we've had some amazing guests on, man, NFL guys. We've been to so many sports venues. The problem with it just being authentic is, I don't even call it a problem. The thing what I didn't account for when I made this podcast is, and you attest to this, is there's a lot of work in podcasts. And there's one thing to sit here and shoot the episode,
of course,
but then there's a whole editing and you know, staying on, and you know the algorithm. You have to be on it every day and giving it something to feed to keep getting those likes and stuff like that. So I've ran into a point where I stopped recording right now because once you record, people want to see the episode, especially kids, parents. Everybody want to see the episode and the content. And so before I go back out, I wanted to find a way that we can push the content faster. So what we're doing now is, starting probably next week or the week after, week 1 of football season, high school, we're going to do a nightcap like Shannon Sharping. So what it does, we're going to go live on YouTube and say, for example, I can call you up, you can come on the screen and we talk live. We got different guests. I got a bunch of NFL guys that are giving me like, hey, the catch of the week, sponsored by Hilton Route King. Brandon Jacobs, who's a local from here, the running back of the week award. So we're going to talk live. And what that does for us is it allows us to, one, the kids can still practice and do interview speaking, but 2, it's live. So I can put it on YouTube, cut it right there on the spot, put it in Opus Clip or something, and make clips there. So yeah, man, that's the biggest thing for us right now. Just finding a way to still give back, Kev, using a skill set that I have, teaching public speaking and communication skills. So if you're out there watching this, Sports Told by Youth, please give us a follow. We're on Instagram, social media, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you get your social content at.
Yeah, man. Make sure y'all go follow that. And it's interesting. I feel like all of our topics are tying into one another, because I think what the service that you're providing is doing exactly what we were talking about earlier, as far as like addressing the pipe rather than the puddle on the floor, right? Because there's so many times I used to watch my mom. My mom's really big on like watching sports and like the broadcast, right? And we'll have an athlete come up and he's doing the and can't make it through the interview, and you're like almost feel sorry for the person, but you're actually it's painful. You're actually a little pissed off. You're like, how do you not know how to talk and you play basketball or football that well? And instead of just being mad at that person, I see like you're putting in the effort to ensure that that person never makes it on our television. That you're teaching them the skills, the valuable traits of what does self-image look like if you're getting on this mic, if you're on this screen, and what people expect out of you and what to come out of your mouth. So thank you for that.
The response, thank you. The response has been overwhelming. I can't keep up with the number of guests and people who want to get on the show. Me and you talk post-show about what's next for me. My goal is to start a public speaking class. Like every Saturday, I'll put you through a seminar, 8-week seminar where I take you and put you through a public speaking seminar. But I told you earlier about corporate America. They pay me just enough. And this is what you and anybody watching, they pay you just enough not to chase your dreams. You know, you've seen probably on different clips and people talk about it where you're making every day I work for my company and amazing. This is not against nothing against any company. They're amazing.
Yes.
But I'm making someone else rich. I'm building someone else's empire. That board I told you about that I write daily thoughts and affirmations on, that's one of the things on there. Are you going to continue to make someone else rich? Are you going to continue to make someone else's dream come true?
Wow.
So one of the things I'm doing with this podcast is I got to take that next leap and really get into it and dedicate the time to finish the course. The people, the audience is there.
Yes.
They, like I said, again, I got 10 people right now want to come on the show.
Of course.
And to see the feedback, you talk about diamonds, to see kids that are terrified. The parents can't even believe what I do with the kid in the hour.
Yeah.
I mean, I get called, I can't believe, I can't get him to say a word. We can't get him to talk. Kids are chatterbox, right?
Yes.
So we're doing some good things there, man. So I'm excited about that, to keep that moving. But I'll be honest and authentic with you. There are other forces that keep me, and one of them is the
of
job.
course, you have a full-time
Yes.
job. The thing that I would, and I see you as my mentor, man, like, but I think that I would love to pass some information that I've gotten about this platform that's really has helped me is like, I love the space that you're in because authenticity is a big thing there as well. Somebody told me like what you're looking for in perfection, you'll lose in authenticity, right? So like, even the time and effort that it goes into editing, sometimes that can even be scaled back to show somebody where they started, like, and even in the wee hours in the morning when they're laying their head on their pillow saying like, I'll never say that way again,
right?
And doing the work. But I think that I feel like there's two worlds that collide when we talk about things like this, because what you're doing is not only valuable in the moment, but it grows value over time. The social media like cloud that we play in or that we're under, we're usually looking for something that's going to have value in the moment and then immediately fall off. So it's like we're going against the algorithm, but there's value in that. And I would like to think that there's a lot of people have come to me about, this podcast and they're like, oh, I watched this. It may be a month after I put the video out, but they finally got a chance to watch it. And they were like, man, I really remember. And they'll say verbatim what they heard. And it's like, oh, it's still doing work, though the views didn't show up. Though the like did. And a lot of times people are doing a lot of the hard work internally. So that doesn't make them leave a comment. They're doing the real work of saying like, okay, cool. Like, okay. And then that sparks an idea that takes them to their journal. Or that makes them make that call and say, you know what, Dad, I haven't talked to you in a while. Or you know what, I'm doing this for the family. So I think what you're doing right now, though it's not quantifiable right now, it's definitely a needed topic, a needed thing, a needed space for our children and for our sports. And so just from me to you, man, I really appreciate what you do, brother.
Kev, no, thank you, man. And to your initial point, I told you starting out this show, you inspire me. Like there were times watching you grow this thing has, like I said, I started out well ahead of you and kind of hit a wall. But every day I see you post and grinding and putting content out there, that is my reminder to keep going. So I think you, like I said, you even I started before, you inspire me. Like we share, I've hit you up with tips and ideas, and even coming here now, and like you said, I got 5 different camera setups and just seeing your setup, like, hey man, Kev is running circles around you. He's working smarter, not harder. But it's about that, So coming here today is another reminder to me that, hey, you can get back in the game and you can do this, man. And people want it. So thank you, man. You inspire me, so I appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
But brand wise, Kev, man, I think just to wrap it up, talking about the brand, man, I'm traveling the world right now. I'm living authentically.
Yes,
like I said, I love that word. That's I'm being myself. I'm showing up every day. I don't, as you get older, you're going to start, especially see older people who don't give a damn.
Yeah.
Excuse my language. There's not much I care about, but me. I've learned to be selfish. Good. And selfish isn't, selfish has such a negative connotation with it. When I say being selfish, I'm being selfish about my time and what I give to it.
Yes.
I tell people often, time is my greatest resource. Like when I tell you I'm not going back and forth about nothing. It's gonna be, I'm telling you, it's gonna be my way. The only people that I have to yield to is my beautiful wife, my kids, obviously my mom and my job. But other than that, I'm not yielding to nothing. I'm not questioning. I'm not going back and forth. My brand now is about living a joyful life. Like I wake up every day. Every day when I wake up now, I touch myself. I say a prayer. I try to stay off social media for the first hour of the day. I'm investing in me.
Yes.
And when I tell you it's been so rejuvenating, I go work out, I go run. I do the things that bring me joy. Like every day I try to get my 5 senses to move. And I go out, I listen to the birds chirp. I don't even have my headphones on sometimes because I'm so high on life right now. So I'm just enjoying life, man. And seeing the world, traveling is definitely eye-opening when you get to see how other people live.
Yes.
I'll be in Brazil in 2 weeks, going to Rio and Sao Paulo, and I'm just going to see, I'm chasing the 7 wonders of the world.
Nice.
So I'll be in Brazil in 2 weeks to see the Christ Redeemer. I've got college degrees. Did one of the biggest things. I graduated from LSU.
Nice.
You know, a year ago now.
Yes.
Got my master's from LSU, one of my favorite schools. But just enjoying life, man, and taking every day one day at a time, understanding that time is my greatest resource and is not letting anyone touch that.
Man, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think that actually segues us into our last segment of the day, which I think is, I know we're going to get something good from you, but we call this last segment the final bite.
Yeah.
And of course, still with the salad connotations, like this is where I always want to give my guests an opportunity to say what's on their mind, their heart. One of those like universal messages that you know that somebody out there right now, whether when I put this episode out immediately or 30 years from now, if YouTube is still a thing or the podcast is still a thing, something that they may need to hear that's going to either get them through a hard time, that's going to make them smile, that's going to do something that's going to improve their quality of life. I want to leave the final bite to you.
The final bite. I love this. First of all, I've loved all the segments and how you've brilliantly tied them in and into having authentic conversations. The final bite for me, there's so much, man, I've been fortunate enough to see and do and be a part of. People, I've been blessed with, again, good people that have poured into me, saw things in me when I didn't see it in me. So the final bite, I think, for me would be a couple of things. One, to somebody out there listening and to anybody that can hear my voice, is that, again, I believe in you. And I mean that sincerely. I love you. For someone that hasn't heard someone tell you I love you, I love you. Like if you ever, you know this because you've been around me, like I sincerely, if you ever need anything, I can't promise you I'm gonna give you $1 million, but I can promise you my ear and I can promise you my heart and empathy. I can hear you out. So my final bite would be anybody out there to the toss up questions. Believe in yourself, bet on yourself, be selfish. Don't stop showing up for yourself every day and those around you. Find you something that drives you. You need to have a purpose in life. When you have a purpose and you write things down and there are goals you're chasing, and it don't have to be financial goals. It could be just to be a better version of you. And that's where I'm at right now, Kev. I want to be a better version of me. So my final bite to anybody out there, live true. I'll use your words, live authentically. There is so much peace in being authentic and just, man, I'm free as I've ever been. Like I don't have to put nothing on for anybody. There's no fake face. Like what you see is what you get. And I've always been that way. I've always tried to live just a truthful life, and it's so freeing when you can do that. And I'm finally in the place of realism, of truth, and it's just an amazing thing. So I would encourage anybody out there in the final bite to find your truth, find your purpose, find love. Don't forget to smile every day. Like find something that makes you smile. Like I start the day, Kev, looking for something to make me smile. In the day, looking for something to make me smile and laugh. So I think if you can find yourself in that space somehow, and there are going to be distractions and things that are pulling away from that, but don't get too far off the road where you can't get back on that road of peace. And so I think if you can do that, that would be my final bite to anyone for just a happy, joyful place to be.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. That's my final bite.
That's a final bite right there, man. That's a word. And brother, I just want to say I truly appreciate you, man. I sit here and knowing that we've known each other for years, I sit here in awe. And I know you're a humble guy, man, but like I honestly have appreciated how our relationship has grown over the years. We don't have a relationship where we talk every day or anything like that. We both are grown men managing households, managing life. But like every time we talk, man, it does something for me. Watching you, even from a social media perspective, go capture that piece that you talk about, man. it gives me hope that I have the opportunity to do the same thing as I transition out of the Marine Corps as well. So, man, I just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for dropping by. I know you were in Louisiana for some other things. Your mom had an event, but thank you for dropping by. It means a lot to me that you stopped by and you talked to me, man. And I hope that this is not the last conversation that we have. I'm sure that we'll have. I think maybe that we probably need a part 2 to this when we're both over 50 and we sit back and we watch this episode together. But thank you for your time. To the viewers out here, I just want to let y'all know something, man. Like these conversations. The reason why I started this podcast is to be able to have people to be a fly on the wall for when great things happen through conversation. You just had an opportunity in watching this to see how 2 grown men who have lived different lives still can come together and still see how similarities bring us closer together rather than divide us. I want to encourage the viewers. We'll put all of Darius's information up as far as the platforms to go follow, how you can support and all that kind of jazz. But also listen to that final bite over again. Find that smile that you need every day and ultimately pay that forward. So I'm going to do what I always do. I'm going to normalize authenticity. I want you to, if you're a viewer out there, start choosing curiosity over certainty. Us being certain about our certain positions doesn't allow for conversations like this one. And I guarantee you that our world becomes a better place. So thank you for your time, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Salad Bowl Podcast. All right.
Take care. Man, that was amazing, Kel. Appreciate it.
No, thank you.
You know what I had a vision of?
You are now tuned in to the Salad Bowl. You are now tuned in to the Listen Up. Don't care if you about to pass out or you just getting up. You really did your thing with this one, Kevin. Gotta give it up. Messages you bring and be motivation to live it up. We out here really normalizing authenticity. Can't be talking all the time, cause that mean you ain't listening. I think you look better when you smile, I see you glistening. Communication helping me to see what you envisioning. Yeah, back to the mission then. Whether you black, white, brown, yellow, or green, more can be accomplished as a team. Together, the problem is never as hard as it may seem. Lot of captivating convos like Martin telling his dream. We choosing curiosity over certainty. You should certainly subscribe to this one here with some urgency. This a win. Even Cali know. You are now tuned in to the Salad Bowl. The Salad Bowl Podcast.
It's the Salad Bowl Podcast.
You are now tuned in to the Salad Bowl.
It's the Salad Bowl Podcast.
Yeah, you are now tuned in to the...
It's the Salad Bowl Podcast.
You are now tuned in to the Salad Bowl.
You are now tuned into the Salad Bowl Podcast with Kevin Thompson.